Hi there, everybody. This is Mark Bromley, your favorite artist and author of the Yoranthium book series. And today I am here with the right side of nude, another one of my earlier drawings and work of arts over at Western Colorado University or Western State College. It was called Western State College. Now it's called Western Colorado University or Western University of Colorado. Well, anyways, WUC. We're going to call it WUC. That's WC. So when you see WUC, that's what I'm talking about. College. Anyways, this is a life art class. And in this class, we learn to draw life models. Now, you may have seen the painting, the earlier painting of Constance. Constance is actually the first model. She was actually done in a painting class, so she was fully clothed. And the reason for that is because the teachers were trying to find which students were professional enough to actually invite to the life study course. Um, yeah, they're highly regulated, these life study courses, because they want to make sure that the artist that's actually doing these artworks isn't some kind of weirdo or something like that. There's a lot of people like that in the world. And of course, by the turnout on my popularity of my artwork, you can see that there is a large number of people always looking for nude pictures across the internet. And I guess they're doing that on YouTube as well. So there's this real voracious appetite for people and these type of pictures. So this is the right side of nude. And this is a life study course. Now in this course you can kind of say that I did have difficulties trying to do the hands because of the positioning on this particular model. Um, Imagine that. This is probably like a 15 to 45-minute pose. And well, she put her hands down there in the pelvic region, so that made it really difficult to actually try to draw hands and look down there on a constant basis, because it could not be a very comfortable thing, because you could probably tell where a lot of artists' eyes would have been going in order to draw hands on this one. But as you go down lower, down to the feet, you can see those feet are actually rather well uh, drafted and drawn. And you can see the individual digits have actually got in there on the right side foot. So this is the right side of nude there, and as we can see, we can go up and we can see that structurally the drawing is all freehand. It did not actually pay attention to the actual skeletal structure or the muscular structure, but it's hard to notice that now, isn't it? It really actually is. And it takes time for artists to actually acquire these skills. This was one of the probably earliest drawings, I think maybe the second pose that I was doing in these classes, these late night classes. I think we only had like a few models, about 3 models maybe in total that actually were doing the modeling. I think this is 1992, I believe. 92, 91, somewhere around there. Anyway, I digress. I kind of forget exactly where it was, but it's in the 90s. And this is just one of the models, and it was a pretty good model. She could actually pose there for a good amount of time, just standing there still for artists to draw her, which is actually quite uh, interesting, because you don't want to lock your knees, because you lock your knees you could pass out, um, things like that. So trying to stay flexible and not going unconscious in 15 to 45 minutes is quite a feat. After all, I've seen it in the military when people stand at ranks. In boot camp, we actually had a guy fall out. We called him Boot Scoot and Boogie, and he collapsed right there in the line because he locked his legs. And that's when we learned not to lock your legs. That every single time you are in the military, you're standing at attention, make sure to bend your knees, because if you don't, you could actually stop circulation. And when you stop circulation, apparently it goes through your legs to your brain, and if you lock your legs, you can go unconscious. So that's actually quite remarkable that these models can actually do this for in the nude, and to get that kind of professionalism out of a model to be able to do that in the 90s was quite a feat and quite a struggle. Now, a lot of people had always imagined themselves to be this kind of drawing type stuff. This was a big thing being advertised in the 90s. It's still advertised. You see a lot of people wanting to do these things, but the reality, we have digital cameras now. Now it just takes a moment, and a moment of time is saved in a picture format for all eternity. Although you do get pixelation and dilation of the obscure angles of the circles. I mean, if you were doing 35 millimeter film, the reason why 35 millimeter film is more accurate than digital pictures is because it uses circles of light, but as the circles of light bend and get refracted onto the 35 millimeter film, you end up with elongation of the circles. So you get a little distortion even in 35 millimeter photography. You'll get a little distortion, but you have more accuracy because you're using the pinhole of light to create your picture. So it's a round aperture, mostly round. Mostly, you could say it's kind of because of the way that aperture opens, it's more hexagonal light going into the frame than it is actually just a circle. Getting a perfect circle means a really high quality camera, but if you have a low budget camera, then it's more like a hexagonal light image being put onto the 35 millimeter film through that chemical process. Of course, they don't teach photography as well as they used to, because now it's all digital, where it's all pixelization. And pixelization is squares. So back in the 70s, we had this computer programmer. He went to my school and he was asking us, what's the solution for producing pictures? Because back then, video pictures were actually produced for computers. It took them a while to actually create huge pictures, large size pictures, and it would take days and weeks to process that many pixels into an actual photograph that you can transmit from one part of the world to another. And because a lot of the technology was pretty new, and it wasn't actually until after the 90s and the Windows computer came along that that my advice actually got taken in. And basically, I told the computer programmer in the 70s, if you want to actually make better pictures, you need to use more pixels. And he thought it was the most absurd thing he ever heard, more pixels. It's like, yeah, you need more pixels, and the pixels can't just be pixels. They actually have to kind of overlap. You have to layer it. So pixelization, layering. In my own digital work, I ended up using that, but the programs I have are pretty much a bottom shelf. They're not really great programs. I can do layering, but it's a really complicated feat because it takes hours of time to actually set up one layer to get another layer. I just don't have the programs for it, and it's because I just don't have the money. I live in poverty. I'm in blight. I'm in a situation where, I need you guys to help me out by getting my artwork, ordering artwork, and I can do it in any media. I'm actually that skilled, so every single media is available. Of course, there's studios I can now use. I know about some studios, but they're all the way down in Denver. Transportation costs down in Denver is $6 a day by the bus. So you can actually see that can get kind of costly. And then I have to pay, I don't know, whatever the space use fee is, and then access to the equipment, because it all comes into a big huge cost there if I actually start doing that kind of stuff, and it's so far away. I was trying to set that up here in Adams County, and as you can see, I was talking about my stolen homeless artwork that was stolen by Adams County, and they, instead of employing me through the cafe program, they decided to go with the Disney and Hollywood discrimination policy, where they decided that I was too white for doing artwork in Adams County. And so I'm this white uber male I guess I'm the super alpha male of North Korea, Northland, Colorado now, that they didn't actually give me the job, but they gave the job to a person who's a con artist, a liar, and a thief. I mean, you can see in the video, I show you the video of what Adams County put out about her. And the person that they hired, that's racism and discrimination, why they hired her. She has no talent. She stole my picture of homelessness, created the photography, the video of the same picture, and there were like feet walking in front of it. So she set up the camera specifically to get that angle. So that was a completely choreographed image that they created in photography because she was given money to do it. And then she sits down with this guy at a park table with holes in it, and it gives them a clipboard, a piece of paper, and that's the art. That's her idea of an art center. That's just a sketch. That's just a drawing. That's not really art. Art's not just a flat two-dimensional object. It can be three-dimensional. It can be printmaking. It can have actual texture and things to it. And if you're not providing an actual art studio space, a workable art studio space that has meaningful significance to creating a higher level of art, you're just never going to actually create higher level art. You're going to be stuck with those acid-laced markers, the acid-laced paper, which is going to destroy itself within a very short amount of time. It's going to discolor, it's going to fall apart because it's not using archival techniques, which is another part of art. Archival techniques. Can you save your artwork? Instead, she's using acid-based markers, and you can see that in that whole entire thing because she's being incredibly cheap and chintzy and selfish. She just, and this is the artist that they've been hiring instead, and they based it on some real broken false religion, cult of woke, false religion, cult of far left extremism, and sociology, the secret police of society, the false religion of government, psychology, the policing of the individual through shaming and then drug distribution, and then political science, the rise of tyrants and dictators who created world wars, socialism, communism, terrorist organizations, and created nothing but constant strife since the 20th century. They've also created nothing but ugly politics here in North Korea, Northland, Colorado. And that's what they actually created here. And so in this artwork that I'm doing here, you can actually see why I'm telling you that the three things is we have three extreme lines of thought in our current government. These are just philosophies, a fraction of philosophy, but they're extremists. They lead to cults, false religions, false gods in government. Basically, the people that you vote for are bad, are terrible people, and they're monsters. And they will murder an entire population. I mean, there's this, you can see it on TV through these three processes of sociology, psychology, and political science. They now have a doctor on TV who is sitting there trying to use stem cells to create and manufacture meat because he says there's too many cows farting create climate change. Well, who's he referring to as the cows? Human beings. He's talking about humanity. Human beings are the cows that are farting too much. This means he's talking about murdering people for stem cells. Stem cells from what? Babies. Now, hopefully he's talking about other animals, like, pigs, sheep, cows, maybe stem cells from them, but I don't know. Is he talking about humans? Stem cells from humans? Because see, any body part, any body combination is technically cannibalism if you're using it from humans and you're ingesting it within a human body. Like there's a person on the video, YouTube video, they have these growths in their foot. They have them pulled out of their foot through little circles and stuff, and then they have stem cells pumped into their foot to heal it. This is the effects of extreme policies that started in the 1910s in our school systems, in our public school systems. Sociology, psychology, and political science started in the 1910s, and that whole entire century was laid waste to war, strife, and terrible government. the religion of government, the false religion of government, and those who would rise to office as the false gods. Your false gods, your false elected people. You got to be careful who you vote for now, because if you vote for a socialist, you vote for a psychologist, or you vote for a political scientist, or anybody who's part of the fake sciences, you basically voted in oppression and tyranny and war, destruction, and they will use atomic weapons, they will use nuclear weapons, and they will use other terrible devices. They are that harmful and dangerous towards society. And that just reminds me, in my artwork, you can order it, you can get online, and you can talk to me anytime you want to actually create new artwork. I do need the funding, I do need the resources. And I just submitted 3 more projects to Cafe. I haven't received anything back on any of them yet, so I don't know. I'll be applying for 2 more projects that I have a little bit of time to put together, and I think I'm just regurgitating an old concept that I was trying to implement here in Adams County, but I got rejected again on that one because of hate from their political agenda. That's the socialists, the psychologists, and the political scientists. They hate me because I'm exposing the truth that they're communists, that they're socialists, and they're Nazis. Yeah, National Socialism is called Nazi. So when I use that word Nazi, I'm talking about National Socialism, which is the false religion of government on the rise. These are your false gods, your tyrants, your oligarchs, your terrible people that want to, you're globalists who want to control everything. It's all about control, and it's about hurting people. And you can see it in the 2 fake news articles that they wrote about me over in Colorado Politics and over in North Glen Thornton Sentinel newspaper here in North Korea, Colorado. And you can see that. You want to help me out in Blight. You want to help my business. You want to move it along. You want to improve it. What I need you guys to do is to order my artwork and start helping me to do more art. And that simply will work. So yeah, I put out, I recently submitted the project for the Castle Rock marquee that I was putting out there. It's basically a pylon, sign pylon. That's basically what I did. But it has 2 sculpture elements, which are 3-dimensional, which is the Castle Rock itself. And I drew that whole entire thing out by hand. And it looks good, actually. My hand created Castle Rock looks just as good as the real thing. And it's actually a 3-dimensional thing. You can walk around it on the platform. It's 34 feet, 24 long, 24 feet high, and 12-foot base. And eventually, however that goes, I'll show you guys what it looks like, because I think it actually came out pretty well, considering the time constraint was only under 10 days. And basically, I gave them an estimate about 175,000, but I think we might. No, I think we're going to stay on budget. Anyways, it's pretty simple, pretty easy. It even had a little rainbow thing that I added to it just because of modern politics, and it said, yeah, let's put the search in there. And it's just an arch right now, but it can be turned into a stained glass mosaic of a rainbow should they want to do that. But they wanted it to be rigid so they could pick it up and move it if they had to. And so they didn't want it to be damaged because apparently, they got the word Castle Rock for their town. And I seen how they can mutilate that sign into saying whatever they want. And it looks a little weird. But anyways, this is the right side of Nude. And I'm just kind of jumping around from subject to subject. But get to know me a little bit better. This is a small video, and I can't talk about every single thing that gets inspired because of art and all the thoughts and activity that come together. But as you can see, this is the right side of Nude, and I do hope you enjoy it. I do hope you contact me. You like my art. You want to buy some of it. You want to have me create some new artwork. I like to create some new artwork. I haven't released these pictures in such a long time because I didn't want to be tied to all my old artwork. I wanted to be tied to my new artwork, which is the RS style. And as you can see, there's a big progress there. And get the Yoranthium book. Help me out with that so I can actually continue with a lot of the artwork. I can't fully show you. I do have a new drawing for the for books 7, 8, or 9, somewhere around there. Yeah, there's more books in the series of Yoranthium that I'm still working on, and this drawing that I worked on today actually has a subterranean city in it, and that comes out later in one of the other books, because in book 2 you get told about the conditions of the land of the potentate, uh, which is the mainland off the coast of the island of Yoranthium, where they go to. And when they're there, there's a chapter in the book of Gentru that tells you about what's what's beyond the borders of the land of the potentate, or the Trevelyan Hold, which was used to be called Trevelyan Hold, the first founding. There's the other kingdoms, the second founding and the third founding. One's called Kenilworth, and the other is called Illustrum, and those are the founding kingdoms of this era and this epoch. And then there's this society that lives under the ground in Kenilworth called Lower Kenilworth. And anyways, I've been drawing a picture of that, and it's quite a wonderful picture. And we're going to go on to that next time that we talk. I'm Mark Bromley. I'm the well, I'm a creator of a lot of different things, a lot of different book ideas. I've actually been trying to write my own book about my own story, which I think might actually end up in 4 books. I'm thinking for my own story uh, of how I got affected by politics and into poverty since I was a child and stuff. That's what that's about. And then I have a couple of other books that I've been working on also on the side there, and I'll be getting around to those books as well, because one of them is actually going to be a child's book. It's pretty interesting, and that's the Whittle book. And then there's other books that I have not created since I was a child, such as the Turtle Wobs. And yeah, you're going to have to listen about those stories too. And then I'm going to also have a bunch of other things that I've been creating for, well, decades, over 5 decades and stuff. My creativity is endless. It's endless. My ideas are endless, and that's why I end up with all these fake artists actually uh, leeching off my work, my ideas. They like my ideas. They like my artwork, and if you go by and you see the whole entire mural of my artworks, even on this website, if you put them all side by side together, you'll actually see that there's some real skill and talent in the artwork that I do. And if you hate it, then that's just your opinion. But I see it, and I see that, yeah, I can see why my art teachers over at WUC, Western University of Colorado, told me that they couldn't teach me because I already excelled even their abilities. Because I excelled their abilities to teach. All they can do is just show me new stuff. That's all they could do, new ways of making things. And I was comprehended it all. I did it well. Printmaking, sculpture. Yeah, I should show you some of my sculptures too, because that's what the projects I've been submitting for Cafe have been, three-dimensional products. Most of them actually start out in foam. I make them out of foam board. So they're just foam board made three-dimensional images. Some of them are actually quite exceptional. Some of them were I tried to keep them kind of basic, kind of general, because it takes time to put these pieces together all the time. And to think about a new image constantly is quite a bit. I think I'm also going to be working on a couple of new projects where they're going to be really decorative items, like, flower bed fountains. I'm thinking of doing that. And well, we'll see how those ones go, because those will be my next projects I'm going to try to get in on, because I create this stuff just by hand-eye coordination, just straight up doing that. And yeah, I can make them large projects because I worked in the shipyards. I built ships, real ships. If you ever seen the Lewis and Clark edition ammunition supply ships for the military, I built those. So yeah, I built big things. So I know what they look like. I know how they're structured, and I know how they're reinforced. So yeah, it's not a big deal. Of course, I'm doing only the 3D models in foam right now because I don't have a strong enough computer to do three-dimensional work because I don't have the memory space, I don't have the video card, I don't have the RAM, I just don't have what I need to actually make better productions. And I tried Blender on these computers. They crap out pretty quickly. They go into these real long, slow modes where it takes the computer a lot of time to catch up to realize what I just did. And yeah, these computers are weak that I got, and they're getting old. So I need finances. I need resources for my art so I can actually get a higher quality of work out there. So, if you want to starve the artist and you want to destroy the artist, yeah, you just keep them poor and broke. That's all you have to do. And they're stuck with doing lesser quality work because they just don't have access to the proper tooling that will keep them competitive. I guess that's how a lot of people want to keep their position in place, is because they have access to that tooling. Well, equal it out. I'm Mark Bromley, author and artist of the Yoranthium book series. Help me out, get my work, and I'll talk to you later. You have a great day.